gather around. I have something to share. Bale, I'll be discussing about my CV and portfolio na I've created for my architectural apprentice. So bale, as of now, I'll be taking my boards sa January. I'll be having my review leave in a couple of months from now for preparation of the January exams. So before anything else, syempre, I think some of the people who have just graduated have questions regarding ano nga ba yung dapat ilagay sa isang portfolio or CV, which I've actually also had a question in my mind pagka-graduate ko kasi I had to fix my portfolio and CV. And usually, majority of us fix our portfolios pagka sobrang lapit na o pagka, alam mo yun, sasabihin natin, okay, I'll take my time first before bago ka magayos, mag-chill muna ako. Tapos may realize mo, ay, late na pala. Ay, meron na pala akong may mga trabaho na pala yung friends ko. So now, I would like to actually present my first portfolio because I'm going to actually show the differences of my two CVs and portfolios that I did before and after. So this was when I just literally finished or I've just graduated. So basically, the things or my portfolio were only based on my projects when I was in college or in UST. And then the second one that I'm going to show afterwards are my works when I had my first job. So as you can see, I've tried to actually show at least a teaser of some of the projects that I've did and then a name, then tried to make a logo. I think this was done in Canva. So basically, this is how I did my layouting, which is I think very I think this isn't like my neatest or the most pleasant way of layouting things. As you can see, there's a bit of a different colored render behind, a black and white render, and then tropical design. So just the pictures. And then I think it's going to be better if I have a description for these projects, at least to actually describe the things that or how my design process actually formed. So more perspectives. I think these are just majority of these are just perspectives and renders, and then I've added my manual renderings since I've focused more on manual renderings when I was on my first and third year of college. So didn't have a strong laptop that can actually produce high quality renders. So I just tried to actually show the firm that I'm applying to that I can do manual drawings. So these are just my first portfolio. And as you can see, there's going to be a big difference with how I did the other portfolio, and I'm going to show my CV plus portfolio for probably after a year or after a year. And so after a year and couple of months after, I've tried to remake my portfolio because I believe, and after being into the experience, I've seen that I didn't actually like how I did the layout for this one. So on to the next one. It's just a simple thing. So first, what I did dun sa CV ko is I've tried to make it as neat and clean as possible para yung portfolio ko yung maging parang pinaka-highlight nung pinaka-presentation ko when I submit it. Also, majority of the applications na ginagawa nowadays are in a form of online submittal or through email na lang. So, never pa akong, I think dun sa first job ko lang ako nag-print out ng copies, pero with all the applications or every firms that I've submitted my CV and portfolio, I've only submitted an e-CV and e-portfolio. So kumbaga, they're all just PDFs, online PDFs. So as you can see here sa CV, usually what you do is to actually first at least add, of course, your name and then address. Address is important because of course you need to actually, or the firm that you're applying to needs to know kung gaano kakalayo sa firm nila. So let's say you're applying to a firms in Makati. Of course, they would actually want to hire someone who is at least near. So plus points na yun sa kanila kasi of course, wala kang excuse nun. You won't, hindi ka na parang makakapag-excuse na ay late po ako or ay traffic po or let's say malayo kasi yung bahay ko din sa firm. Although there are some instances na may natatanggap naman na from Laguna tapos yung company is in Makati. Yun lang, nagkakaroon lang syempre ng idea yung firm or yung firm mismo whether kung malapit ka o hindi. So you still need to actually let them know saan ka nakitira. Actually, whether you put the CV, whether you put your address or not, they're still going to ask this dun sa interview. So might as well just write it in your CV. Then your number and then your email address na is active. Syempre don't put something na you're not using anymore. And then your education. I think what's important sa education is yung high school and college. And if you have of course master's degree. Pero yun, so I've studied in Don Bosco Makati as a technical school tapos UST. And then you need to put your work experience, saan ka nag-internship, saan ka nag-OJT, and then, so ayun. So currently now, wala na ako dito sa Baiku Builders, I'm on a different firm na. So this is my CV na I have submitted to a different firm. You have to put your co-curricular activities here, so ano-anong mga memberships or ano-anong organizations, mga nasalihan mo. I've been a part of just a member tapos I've been an executive coordinator for promotions. And sidetrack, I remember a story when I've actually applied for being an EC under UAPSA, and the pinaka-head ng EC is actually one of my friends, and then he asked me to meet up with him sa isang milk tea store, if I remember. Sa isang condominium. And then what I remember is he told me with some of the members of the UAPSA, he told me, okay, itong let's say yung bottle, itong bottle na to, promote it as if this is part of your organization. Tapos ang ginawa ko, at first I didn't actually know what to do, pero sabi ko okay guys, so parang bila akong gumanon, ang daming tao. So nakakahiya lang pero it's been a part of who am I right now, di ba? Parang these are the things that I have done in my college days, and this will sort of like matter. Siguro a very small percentage lang. Pero I think what's new in terms of importance na co-curricular activities mo is having, let's say, a social media, or let's say if you're an influencer, I think you might actually be used for I think that's going to be a useful thing in terms of the marketing service of the firm in case na they have that one. So it used to be just one page, pero since natagdagan na siya because of my first job, ito na yung second one. So the second one is just the seminars that I've been to onti lang kasi I wasn't really into seminars way back when I was in college. And then of course you have to add your technical skills. You have to add are you good in manual, digital? And if I'll be honest, first to third year I was only producing manual drawings. Wala pa akong very strong laptop or gaming laptop na can actually render or produce high quality renders, so I just stick to manual drawings. And then digital drawings, 3D modeling, because usually tinatanong talaga yan ng mga companies or firms. They ask you whether you use Revit, CAD, SketchUp, what are the models that you use, and then rendering and post-rendering service. I did Lumion, V-Ray, Photoshop, so the basic stuff. Or hindi. You don't have to worry kung di ka naglumion or di ka magaling sa rendering kasi again, architecture as a job is not just mainly focused on designing. We have of course those people who do the construction, So it's a wide range. Don't have to worry kung di ka ganito kagaling. Just make sure to actually highlight the things that you're good at, and also in the interview at least tell the things that you might actually be lacking of. And I'll tell in a different video why that is important. But here, of course, have character references. I'm going to blur their names. Pero these are my so the first one is my advisor, my thesis advisor, and then second is my internship principal or leader architecture, a principal architect. So the second one is the principal architect of where I took my internship or OJT. And then the third one is the principal architect of my first job. And then add at least a little bit of visuals, these logos of the applications or the softwares that you're using. So as you can see, the CV is important because these are the things that highlight your experience in terms of just the general background. But in terms of the portfolio, a portfolio comes up with your experience or your creative experience. Dito mo na i-highlight. So this is going to be the highlight of the things that you are actually very confident about. So since you're the one who's actually creating your own portfolio, make sure that the things that you put here are the things that, let's say, you are confident about, the things that you believe good at, and it will actually just show as in a showcase of your works from college and then internship or your previous jobs. So this is what I did. I believe I just took different ideas from Pinterest and Google, and then I made my own logo. I wrote my name in there, and I think I could have at least lessened the font size of this one para mas na high, so that the pictures are going to be the highlights. So what I did here are just teasers of some of the renderings that I did there. So yun. So Cornell, GPL, Gerard, Brim, then an architectural portfolio. And then so what I did here is I've actually created a table of contents for this one. So I have the residential with the dates. Although I am actually wondering if I should prioritize yung years or should it be just categorized with what I did here in a residential, then internship, and then thesis. So whatever the category you're in. And then for example, let's say complex, I don't know. And then going now to the design itself. So as you can see here, the first is the residential project. I tried to at least be creative on my own style. But I think the first one here, if I remember, my uncle was the one who actually told me na parang hirap kasi you'll have to tilt your head to actually see the main rendering. So I think I'll have to fix this next time soon. This one. So make your visuals as clear as possible. And then I've wrote down some of the things that are relevant to this project. So I think as visual designers or being more focused on visuals, it is actually good if you're just literally showing yung pictures or you're highlighting the images as big as possible. But again, if you can actually describe it in a way that you can actually narrate it through words, I think that's also a plus. Kasi although it's an edge for us designers to mostly focus on images, I think being able to write down your description or your own narration of the project can actually be very useful as well. So not just on visuals but also on different aspects. And then I have legends, a small floor plan, and then a small rendered floor plan. So I don't know why I had a smaller font with this one. I think I wanted just to highlight this one, parang background project background siya or something. So this was done in 2019 sa tropical design subject namin. I believe I was 4th year way back then. And then different renderings. Yes, I believe I am part of a group dito eh. So I think I should have at least wrote down their names to actually at least, I don't know, be honest with yourself and to whom you're actually presenting to. And then second one is the family project. So I did this, I highlighted this one kasi sometimes your interviewer would actually ask kung ano yung project na to, describe the project. So para they would actually know earlier na this is a family project. It's been done sa family ko mismo. And I was the one who actually designed the extension of it. I actually indicated it here. So with an extension proposal. So as you can see here, and I'm actually realizing na if I can actually do this, if I can redo it now, yes, I can actually improve it. Pero props to my younger self for actually being able to at least work on this one. And yeah, although hindi nagawa yung extension na to, we had an extension on a different proposal naman siya, which I think I have shown on a different video with the landscape design video na nagawa ko. But yeah. And then, more details. So here, another tip is when you're actually putting details sa presentation mo, whether sa thesis or sa portfolio, only put the things that you're actually confident or you can actually answer. So here, as you can see, smaller plans yung ginawa ko kasi from what I remember, hindi siya ganun kapulido or my floor plans weren't that really, in a sense, as in a perfect plan. I believe I've rushed this plan. So what I did was to actually make the plan smaller in a scale so that it will at least give a sense na okay, I did the floor plans, but at the same time, I'm not highlighting the whole plan for them to actually see intricately or in detail the planning or how I did the layout. But yeah, it's just a matter of presenting your own presentation, presenting your own presentation or layouting your own presentation. And then different views and perspectives that would actually supplement my project. So if you have more renders, the better. Pero if I'll be honest, the interviewer or the one who's checking your portfolio would actually just skim and scan it up until they see something interesting for their own interest na yun. And then, different renderings. And then this one was our internship project that was done not only by me but with my team. So props to Pat, Miko, Brian, and I don't know if I forgot someone, pero I think that's going to be sad kung makalimutan ko kung sino siya. Pero I believe 4 lang kami. So this was done 2020. I was the one who modeled this one, but the rendering was done by Miko. The planning was different as well. So this one, I think I could have at least lessened the words. I think words or descriptions can be actually nice in terms of your presentation, but make sure, I think kung magkakaroon na tayo ng ratio, it's going to be, I guess, 70-30 or 60-40 at least. But I think I've done this in a way na parang 50-50 na siya. Or, hindi. I have this one, but it seemed like it's part of this. But, other different renderings, perspectives, and then this is my undergraduate thesis. And as you can see, I've actually presented, or I had a different video regarding this one. From what I remember, focusing on the concept board. But as you can see, so highlighting the pictures and my renders, perspectives, my axonometric, and then there's a project background with the thesis logo. And then basically I'm trying to present it on a faster way through the words and through how I put the pictures in detail. So other perspectives and renders, and then more details that can actually show na I can actually do axonometric, I can do rendered sections. There you go. And then these are the visualizations. Come on, Gerard. Double T. Sorry. So these are some of my renders when I took my first job. As you can see, there you go. Renders, more visuals, and yup. If I'm going to have tips for creating your CV and portfolio, just make sure to actually make the layout as neat and as plain as possible for the CV. Make sure that the words, that the details or your background are as readable or as illegible as possible. For sure, you're using digital layouting, so it's going to be illegible as possible. Just make it any sense, a neat layout. Don't add so much design on your CV, because you can actually do that on your portfolio, which is your creative side. So CVs, I believe, can mostly just be your background or the things that, or your experiences. So dun siya nagko-focus. It's focusing around that one. And then just try to even other things, such as, again, your co-curricular activities, your past education, those stuff. Add this one, because it's going to be up to the interviewee or the main firm itself whether they're going to focus on the education only. So at least try to put as much as possible, but make it as neat as possible, right? So for your portfolio or your creative side, just think of it as creating your own storybook of your previous presentations, previous projects that you are most confident about, because you don't want to actually put whatever projects that you've done but you're not confident about it. So it doesn't really have to be very, very realistic as long as you are confident about it, and it will actually show your strength and weaknesses with your interview. So it doesn't really have to be as good as Zaha Hadid's, or you don't want to compare, or you don't want to super like search different portfolios to compare your own portfolio, because again, just when trying to have a reference, especially on online or social media or Pinterest, make sure that you are focusing only on the layout but not on their projects. Okay, focus on the layout, because you might actually get bummed or you might get sad because of the renderings. We have different weaknesses and strengths, so keep that in mind. And then so make sure that you put at least a year or date or description, a short description of each of the projects that you did, whether you did this on your college, whether you did this on your probably a freelance project or an internship project or OJT project, whatever it is, as long as it's actually part of your architecture creative side, indicate it. I've also wondered if I should have at least added my my photographs, because I think it's probably a part of your creative side as well. You can also add more manual drawings if you are into drawings. Your architecture or your creative side will actually really matter. Just put on whatever you can, but know that the interviewer will only skim and scan your portfolio. It's not going to be a novel type of reading. So don't get sad if parang mabilisan lang yung pagbasa nung interviewer, or it won't seem as how you expected them to actually react on it. Just make sure to just give whatever you have done when you were younger. And if you didn't have much, let's say, experience with renderings, I think there are some firms that doesn't really focus on renderings. There's actually, again, a wide spectrum in terms of architecture. It's not just focused on design. There's construction, there's project management, there's being able to present well to the client. So you can actually show that side of you in the interview. You can tell them why aren't you into the rendering, you prefer speaking to the client, and then you can actually be used as the firm, as the one who's presenting their projects, right? So again, portfolio is just going to be your most confident project showcase. Kumbaga ganun lang siya. So wishing the best for every one of you guys, and focus on what matters, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.